Hey folks, I'm getting ready to go do what we call a tunnel set with a body grip trap. Tunnel, funnel, whatever you want to call it. But before we go do this set, I want to talk to you about the best management practices, or what we call the BMPs, that the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies and its association called the Wildlife Society, which is all of our wildlife scientists, biologists. Those two groups have put together this very complete list of BMPs, best management practices, as it relates to trapping. So no matter the species you're trapping, no matter the type of trapping you're doing, water sets, ground sets, dirt holes, body grips, whatever, I hope you'll go out to this link below and you'll read those BMPs. Because no matter the type of set, the species you're after, there is information out there that is super helpful. It's complete, it's the most complete set of protocols and practices that's ever been done related to trapping. It's going to make all of us better trappers, and it's going to make sure the future of trapping is bright. Go to the link below, and then let's go out here. We'll show you how we use these body grip traps when we're out there trapping beaver. How to make a beaver set and use a dive stick. So these are always with body grip traps. And what you have is a beaver, right? When he's swimming, the water level's right here. So he's seeing not like you or I. But he's swimming, and they love to come to places like I'm standing right here. Here's an old abandoned beaver hut here that over years of flooding has silted in and created a mound. There's a bunch of tunnels back here. These are the kind of places a beaver, when they're traveling the river, are going to come and check this out. Now, one of the places where a conibear, a body grip with a dive stick is super effective would be the face of a dam. If there's a channel that's going through a dam, a lot of times you'll see a big beaver pond and you'll see they build tunnels going back to where the feed sources are, where all the aspens or the willows are back there. Well, any place you have a really tight corridor that you know a beaver is going to travel, conibear's body grips are just unbelievably effective. Now, in river environments like this, you aren't going to have the same type of opportunities that you will in places where there's flowages, or in other words, series of beaver dams. So this is the most complicated place to try put a body grip trap and use a dive stick. If you can do it here, you can imagine all the other easier places to do it. So what it is, I know a beaver comes in this area, especially in the springtime when they're looking for mates, or in the fall when they're looking for a place of, all right, where's a good feed bed? Where's a good feed source? We got a bunch of willows right back here. Well, this is a great spot. I'd climb up out of the bank, I'd get some dinner and be out in the deep water if some predator comes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fence, and you can be really obvious with funneling a beaver into a constraint, a place where you want them to go. So I know, okay, that's about how deep it needs to be. You don't want something super deep because the beaver might just dive under your trap. So you want it to be, you know, somewhere 20 inches probably. So that way the beaver is at the water level here. They see this log, they got to dive under, and when they dive under, you'll see they'll go into the conibear trap. If you put it out in too deep of water, too rapid of water, sometimes they'll go right underneath it and they'll push your trap away. So first thing I'm going to do is start building a little bit of a fence here. I don't know, yeah, right about that depth is, yeah, that's perfect. I don't want him to come around my trap, so I'm just going to start doing this. And I know some of you are going to say, boy, that looks really obvious. Yep, you can be really obvious with beaver. In fact, you can be so obvious you attract people rather than beaver. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to do it and get the beaver to come right into your trap. So I know the beaver's probably going to be traveling this way. He might come from this direction, and if he does, when he leaves, he's going to go that way. So figure out what all I got here. Use everything at your disposal. Brush. The reason I like old beaver huts is you got a lot of places, a lot of debris, a lot of good stuff to use that'll help you build a funnel. Beaver don't know it, but they almost help you out by creating such a debris pile that you got a lot of stuff to choose from. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you got to think about this. I'm in a place this is a public river with public access. So this is strictly for demonstration. I'm not going to do something this conspicuous in a public waterway. Now on private land, yeah. Or if it's a place where I have all the exclusive trapping to myself and I'm far away from a road, yeah, I'll do something this conspicuous. So just be thinking about that. You attract too many people, you might end up without a beaver or without a trap. So here's my kind of fenced area. Oh, would you look at that? There's been beaver here feeding. Anytime you see a freshly peeled stick like that, you know you're in beaver country. So I'm gonna put this up on the bank over here. Let him know that, hey, some of my buddies come over here and feed on those beautiful willows back behind me. All right. So we're getting pretty close there. Now what I got to do is I got to set my body grip, my conibear, and I've got this stick that I'm going to run through the springs. Get my wire out here. And know that, again, whenever you're setting conibears or body grips, make sure you know what the state regulations are for your location, because there are a lot of different rules about the use of body grips. What size body grip can you have them exposed out of the water at all? They have to be completely submerged? What's the size that they can be? So whatever you do, make sure of that. In my state, you got to have a tag on every trap. So pretty easy to comply. Just know what the rule is and follow it. Now back when I was younger, thought I was a tough guy, and I'd set these conibears by hand. And then I got a little older and I realized how much easier this is with the setting tool. So the idea is, you see those safety springs? There's so much power in one of these springs that you want to have that safety lock on there. So while you're setting your trap, you're not risking bones and fingers. And I hate to admit that I've had one of these on my hand before. It's hard to get off all by yourself. Ask any trapper who's had that situation. They probably don't want to admit it, but it's cause for serious contemplation. Tractor. So now, you see I have this trap ready. Both springs have the safety locks on it. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set this trap. And you always wanna keep your springs pointed down while you're setting it, because that way if your safety locks slide, they slide down further. You don't want it up, because if they slide off and this thing snaps, you're gonna be howling. Just speaking from experience. So, got my springs on there still. put my trap on what level I want to get it at and which direction I think he's going to come from. Well, I told you I thought he's going to come from downstream, so I'm going to change this slightly in that I want it over. I want that to be okay. So I'm going to have it this direction because I want him to be further into the trap before he springs it. Now, you can see when I start doing this, these springs want to start sliding down. And what I'm going to do, put this through there. I got to make sure I got enough clearance here between my dive stick and my trigger so that my trigger can pop. So this thing is just about fully loaded. In other words, I don't want my fingers in this thing at this point. Put my trigger off there, or my safety lock. So I'll wire this off after I get it in place. Okay, a little bit more resistance over on this side. Get that done. There we go. There we go. So you can see the trap is that much below the water. So the beaver's going to come like this. And right now I still don't have him funneled as tight as I would like. I'm going to funnel him even tighter. And some people will say, gee, that looks like you're really pushing him. Yep, I am. I want that beaver coming right through there. Find some more sticks. Now one thing you'll notice is this trap will roll that way, this way and that way a little bit. So one of the things you can do is put a stake right between the springs, and now that won't move this way at all. Alright. If you can, angle it that way, kind of. And I'm going to find another bigger one. I'm going to angle it that way. And when all this water clears, you're going to see what's happening. I gotta. Oh. Get all this stuff out of there. And I know he could possibly come from this direction also. So, in case he decides to come this way, I want to have another funnel on each side. So, here's the whole idea. The beaver is coming this way, or the beaver is coming this way, or maybe it's an otter. And they don't want to go up on shore because they know when they go up on shore, that's a good way for a predator to get me. They like to stay in the water, especially water where they can dive under and be gone. Okay, I got a bunch of debris over here. Got a big dead clump that comes out. This is kind of like, man, what a great target. The beaver sees this, he's thinking to himself, you know what? I really like that, man. That looks like the path to righteousness. There we go. Boy, count me in on that. And when he comes swimming through here, he doesn't know it yet, but things aren't going to work out real good for him. One of the things you want to do is make sure that you tie it off on something good. I'll probably find a big chunk here because usually they're not going anywhere. I mean, you look at the power in that trap and they're not going anywhere, but just in case. There you go. These are the kind of things that a beaver's not going anywhere with that big clump right here. So I'm going to let this water clear so you can see what we're going to end up with when it's all done. So this is how you use a dive stick. You funnel a beaver in, and it could be an otter, but you have a route where he's coming in, maybe a route he's going the other direction, and you use this big, tall, or long stick here to force that beaver to dive underneath. And when he dives, that conibear is right there. Pretty easy. It is one of the most lethal sets, and especially if you can find those really narrow beaver tunnels where they're leaving their ponds and they're going back to their feeding areas. Or you can, if this is the face of the dam, you can do this same thing by putting it perpendicular to the dam, because they swim the face of the dam to inspect. Any leaks? How's my water level? Well, when they're swimming the face of the dam, you force them right up next to it. You put your dive stick here. They're swimming along the dam and they dive down. Boom. End of the story. I'm going to grab a stick and show you. So he comes swimming through here, or an otter, and he's like, uh-oh, there's some debris up in front of me. I'm going to dive underneath that. So he dives down, and when he does, he's underneath and he hits that trigger right there, and boom, beaver in your trap. Dive sticks, body grips, funnels, absolutely lethal. If you told me that I had to trap beaver with just one trap, it would be a body grip, and I'd use dive sticks and funnels. Thanks for watching.